Go. Hey everyone, it's time for cooking lessons. I'm going to tell you a secret. You can make tuna casserole without a can of cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, cream of grouse, cream of anything. You can make it yourself. I'm going to show you how to make it, and I'm going to tell you too that this recipe, sort of, not this particular one, but the same title of it, Not Your Mother's Tuna Casserole recipe, is what launched my cookbook career. Seriously, I won a cooking contest with this recipe. But anyway, I'm now about to give it to you. I've got the noodles pre-cooked. You need about 8 ounces of egg noodles to do this. You need a cup of breadcrumbs, preferably Italian breadcrumbs. You need 2 tablespoons of melted butter. You need about a half a cup to a cup of cheese. You know, you just grab it, whatever. Those are the amounts that I'm going to give you. Plus you need a cup of milk or cream or coconut milk, whatever it is. Salt, pepper, onion, and thyme. And I'm going to show you right now the trick to making tuna casserole taste like nothing you've ever had before. I'm telling you, I've got the tricks. And today, I bear it all. Well, to a degree. You know what I mean by that. All right, first of all, we're gonna start with, and I've got bone broth. Of course I have bone broth. We're gonna start with some onion, and I always go to my little onion friend. Is this not the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life? This is how I keep my onions in the refrigerator. When I first got this, Mark gave me so much grief. You'll never use it. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I use it, I cherish it every single day. He gave me a not so nice face. I'm not gonna tell you what he did. All right, first things first, we're gonna chop an onion. And it's basically about a medium-sized onion. And we've got 2 cans of tuna. And of course they're opened and they're drained well. I'm gonna get that going. In the pan, you've got about a tablespoon of butter and about a half a tablespoon of avocado oil, okay? The reason that I add the avocado oil is so the butter won't burn. You can also use ghee if you want. The many methodologies of chopping an onion. My whole thing is just you need to get it done, right? And you use the natural, you know, you've got the natural layers of the onion. It's gonna fall apart, so you don't have to worry about, you know, necessarily making sure everything is taken care of. You want your oil butter mixture to be nice and hot so that when you put the onion in, you hear a sizzle. So you can take a little piece of onion and just wait a minute and let it, just wait for it to sizzle, okay? Now the breadcrumb and the breadcrumb topping is done 1 piece at a time. So we'll just start with the breadcrumbs, put those down, then we'll put the butter on top, and then we'll put the cheese, and we'll just do a little mushing. I'll show you how that whole thing works. The bone broth helps. Now, if you don't have bone broth, use some canned chicken broth if you have it, or a box of chicken broth. And if you don't have that, you can even use wine, believe it or not. We're talking not your mother's tuna casserole. Although you know your mother had a glass of wine going. Mine did. She drank Ripple, y'all. Ripple. So I know a lot of you have been wondering, like, Leanne, where do you get your clothes? Quarantine fashion. This is all, thankfully, from Target, from the sale rack. So now you know how I dress at home on the regular. But I figured with this being, okay, so this one didn't work out so well. I gotta fix it. So I figured with this being quarantine fashion, you need to see how I do it on the regular day. Okay. And I would like to say thank you to a number of new Saving Dinner Answer subscribers. I've seen them, and I'm gonna be calling you all out. We're just making a list of everybody that has just come aboard. I just want to say thank you. You guys have really made a difference for us, and I hope that we can make a difference for you with our menus, recipes, and shopping lists. Remember, they come out every single Tuesday. No matter how you eat, we've got it there for you. We've also got a lot of people who are asking about how to do freezer meals and all the rest of it, and I know you've got plenty of time to cook, and probably people are wanting meals 2-3 times a day, I'm going to bet. So one of our biggest ideas that we had that we sold this probably about 10 years ago. We've brought them back, put them together in an ebook, and they're called Now and Later. So basically you're doubling down on making a recipe, but you're cooking it now, one of them, part of it, half of it, now, and the other part you're putting in a freezer bag for later. So it's raw when you put it together, and we show you how to do that, so that when you pull it out of the freezer, it's like a fresh cooked meal, not a reheated thing. And it's a really great idea. It's on sale right now. Go to savingdinner.com/now, and you can grab that. It gives you the whole plan and shows you how to do it. What we're looking at here is we're trying to get those onions translucent and maybe slightly browned as well. That's what you want. You want to get rid of the white and start getting into the clear and a little bit of the brown. And then you're not even going to believe what I'm going to do here. Yes, I am. You add the tuna, believe it or not. You add the tuna. Mark has this look on his face like, what did you just do? I know. Has anybody ever thought of sauteing up tuna in a pan? I have. And I'm telling you, it makes all the difference. So what you're going to do here now is just kind of get this tuna all chunked up. Come on, friends. Let's make it happen. Tuna friends. Now I've got solid white albacore, but this works with any kind of tuna. You just need to make sure the tuna juice is gone. And I used to have a cat named Katie Cat, and when I opened up the can of tuna, she could hear it from the other side of the house, and she'd come running because I'd give her the tuna juice. Good old Katie Cat. Okay, so you get that all nice and chunked up, and this is the part where you're going to add a little salt and, of course, our friend pepper. Pepper's our friend. We love pepper. And then you're going to add a little bit of thyme. Remember how I showed you how to do a spice? You put it on your hand first. And any kind of an herb, and a thyme is an herb, and you give it a little rubsy. Put it in there. There we go. It's starting to stick on the bottom of the pan, which, believe it or not, this is what you want. I don't know why I have that there. Doesn't that look delicious? It really doesn't. Okay, now, from there, this will now go into our bowl that we're going to make the casserole with. And, oh, what did I do? There it is, over here. I've got the bone broth. This is why I love bone broth so much. It does everything. Now, believe it or not, I am deglazing this pan. I probably just put in about 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 cup of bone broth. Let me just put this over here. And come on, friend, get hot. And I'm just going to go ahead and get this going 1/2 minute. Crazy. So the bone broth is just going to get it up to a little bit of a simmer, and then I'm going to make a sauce. I'm going to show you how to do that. And you can do this without having to do a basic white sauce. You don't have to do the whole flour roux business. I almost make it like an Alfredo, and I'll show you how to do that. You need to have on the ready a 9x13 pan, greased and ready to go. You need to preheat your pan to 375, or preheat your oven rather, to 375, and it's going to cook for 20 to 25 minutes. You just want it nice and hot and bubbly, and the top will start to brown a little bit, but you don't want to overcook it or it will dry out like crazy. Okay, here it comes. We're coming right along. So I've got a whole cup of cream here. You can use anything, whatever you want to use. And again, I'm going to do this and give it a minute, let it come back to a little bit of a boil. You can add garlic powder to this. You can add pretty much anything that you want to add. That it's just going to add more of an interesting flavor profile. There's a thing called Better Than Bouillon, and I've used this quite a bit for putting together and adding a little bit more dimension to sauce. But honestly, with a tuna casserole, you just want to kind of keep it simple. You can add frozen baby peas if you want to, and I go with the baby peas because they are less likely to, they just taste better. I use them completely 100% frozen. We don't have them right now, so we're not using them. I use them 100% frozen. I would use a cup of frozen peas, and that would go in at the very last minute when you're putting the whole thing together and then back into the oven. They'll be perfectly cooked when you get there, okay? All right, so this is starting to come to a boil a little bit, which is what we want. Okay, and I have a little bit of, I'm using a little Parmigiano Reggiano. Yes, ma'am. And I'm going to use probably about a quarter of a cup. Don't need much more than that. That's to add a little flavor to the sauce and make it not so plain. A plain cheese sauce is pretty plain. Yeah, I would definitely add garlic. Can you grab me the garlic powder? I'm gonna add garlic powder to this. I would go with the garlic powder rather than fresh garlic, because fresh garlic might be a little overwhelming. And just a little bit of garlic powder. Thanks, love. A little bit of garlic powder is great, just a tiny bit. It just adds just that little. You don't want to be able to taste it. You just want to be able to, when you each spoonful, to be nice and rich. Okay. And then I'm going to show you another trick if you don't have enough sauce. And this might not be enough sauce, we shall see. All we do is get the cream from the fridge and we just put that on there. So what I'm gonna do now is put my noodles in. I've got noodles here, and I've got, you can't find it. This is so fascinating. I actually really want to turn the camera on you, because men go to the refrigerator and they see nothing. It's a fascinating thing.
It was hidden behind the
No,
zigzag.
it wasn't hidden. No, it was not.
Behind the zigzag.
Okay, so do you see this? Whoops, we want to shut that down. There we go. Okay, so what I did was I just took the tuna and the noodles and I mixed it all in. Now I'm going to add the sauce to the whole thing. In it goes. There you go. Oh, and it smells, it really does smell divine. It's tuna casserole, you guys, and it smells delicious. And then into your pan it goes. Whee, just like so. All right. Okay, now, all you want to do is just even that puppy out. Now, at this point, you can look at it and go, it's just not creamy enough, or just doesn't seem to have enough sauce. And at this point, you can just do one of these. No measuring, just kind of dampening it up a little bit. That's it. Okay? Let's do this part. Breadcrumbs on top. breadcrumbs on top. Is there a song? Or am I just making things up as I go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to use, that's probably about a half a cup. Then I'm going to take the melted butter over the top, zigzag it, zig, zag, and zag it back. Hello. Boom. And then you get out the other cheese and you just give it what for. And you just kind of mush it in. I know it's cross-contaminating here. I'm going to show you one other thing that I do. It's kind of my secret weapon. Really good cheese. Just a tiny bit to mix in there. Because this stuff doesn't melt quite as easily as, you know, the regular stuff. Oh, for heaven's sakes. All right, and then you just, I know it looks weird that I'm doing this, but it really helps to kind of mix it up. And then you get it into the oven at 375 for 20 to 25 minutes until it's hot and bubbly. And I'm telling you, it is the best tuna casserole you've ever eaten. Question.
How much butter?
I used 2 tablespoons of butter that I melted on that. And I also sauteed the onion and the tuna in butter and a little bit of avocado oil. Any other questions?
What kind of cheese?
I used what I have. We've got a Mexican style cheddar Monterey Jack. Yeah, that's it. It's a blend. It's a Mexican blend. That's what we have. That's what I used.
And no peas.
And no peas. I used no peas because I had no peas. But if you have peas, you can add them. I would never advocate for a canned pea, but frozen peas for sure. And just make sure that when you put them in, you don't let them thaw beforehand. And that's it. That's it. Do we have any other questions? No other questions? What did you think of that one? Share this with all of your friends. And remember, if you'd like to support Saving Dinner, become a subscriber to Dinner Answers. Dinner Answers is our answer to what's for dinner. We give you menus, recipes, and shopping lists every single week, every Tuesday, delivered to your inbox. And you have complete access to all of Saving Dinner's recipes, thousands of them. And we're happy to support you, and we appreciate you supporting us.
Is there a recipe somewhere on this?
Nope.
Just play
It's
it again.
right in my own little hot little head. I have in my very, very, very first cookbook called Healthy Foods Your Kids Will Love. That was 20 years ago, and it was printed in 2000. That's where the recipe came from. It's Not Your Mother's Tuna Casserole. But this is my little brainchild.
This will be posted. They can watch it again.
Yeah, you can watch it. You can watch it over and over again. And you'll love this. Remember, it was like 8 ounces of noodles, 2 cans of tuna. We had a cup of, I used cream, but you can use milk. You can use whatever. I used about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of bone broth. I used a whole medium onion. I used about 1/2 cup of Italian style breadcrumbs, and then just miscellaneous cheese. There you go. That's it. Ta-da! Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock for another cooking lesson. Tomorrow is also Soulful Saturday, so if you join me at 1 p.m., you'll see me in my office. We're going to be talking about some cool things, so I hope to see you then. Peace.